everybody, and welcome to another episode of Love Shreveport podcast. We are so excited because we've got some great information we're going to share with you today. Today, we have the pleasure of talking to the Director of Council Affairs, Mr. RJ. How you doing, Mr. RJ?
Doing well, doing well.
Man, it's a great day today. Thank you for taking out some time and coming to share with us on today. We're going to jump right into some things because I think the people just kind of need to know some things about you, your role, and some things about just the council in general. So we're going to jump off. Tell us a little about you, yourself, a little bit of your background,
Sure.
how you got here.
Well, this position was created by the council earlier this year. We had a series of interviews for those candidates for this role, and I was appointed by the council back in February, started in March. And so it's been a position that was championed by Councilman Jackson as an effort to make sure that our council members had additional support to ensure that we can respond to citizens' issues, work with our various departments, and ensure that we always had a follow-up with our constituents to make sure they knew that somebody is always there, making sure that those things that they call in about were taken care of. I've graduated from a number of schools, Louisiana State University. Both my bachelor's degrees are from there, as well as ULM. I have a master's in public administration, as well as getting my doctorate right now in public policy from Southern University in Baton Rouge.
Wow. So what is your role here? Do you just deal with one of the council members? Is all of the council members? How does that work?
I work for all 7 of our council members, all of our districts citywide. Each of our council members has distinct things that they want to do that I assist with, legislation, communications. And so in my role, I'm actually in charge and responsible for external affairs of the council, working with our constituents, working with our department heads, communications, and those things for our council. So you can kind of look at the clerk of council handles a lot of internal things. I handle the external relations for the council.
Are there something specific that you can share when somebody's thinking internal, external? They may not know. Is there something you can share? What's that difference in between the?
Sure. All of our staff in the office, the clerk of council handles everything, but primarily I'll handle constituent complaints. So if you call about a trash can or your trash not being picked up on a certain day, or your sidewalk needing repair, those are the types of things that I work on the external side, ensuring that our council has publicity for different events that they may hold. When we have our community meetings that the council members hold, I usually put those meetings together for them, advertise, social media, those types of things for our council members.
Wow. So now, what is the role of the council? There's a lot of moving parts when you come to politics and city. What is the role of the city council?
Sure. Our council is the legislative branch of government. Obviously, everybody has heard about the 3 branches, yes: legislative, executive, and judicial. We are the co-equal branch, our legislature. And so our council members are writing laws. They're making sure that the ordinance are fitting the city. If there are things that we need to work on as far as oversight, the council has oversight over different departments, different things. So, for example, the internal auditor, the city's internal auditor is appointed by the council. So they make sure that things are going the way they're supposed to. And so her office, Lena Stewart is our internal auditor. Her office handles that, and the council appoints that role, working with our mayor's office. Again, they're co-equal branches, and so we work with the mayor's office on the various things. Our council has control of the budget, where the money goes. The mayor submits a budget to the council. We go through budget hearings, and the council can move and change things as they see fit. As they go. So we're basically making sure that the wheels of the city keep running as much as we can.
So if someone did not know who their council person was, how do they go about finding out who?
Absolutely. We have a directory on the website. So if it's really cool, actually put your address in. It shows you where you are, wow, who your council member is, their picture, their phone number, their email address. You can always reach any of our council members through email or phone, or you can call our office and we can always help. We're here to assist at any time a constituent may need it.
Now, here's a big question. Now, are the council members touchable? Can the citizens reach out? Can they talk to them?
Absolutely.
Can they call for meetings?
Absolutely.
What can a citizen do to kind of communicate with the or not do with a
Sure. Our council members are regular people. They're elected by the citizens. They're here to serve the constituents. And so, yes, you can talk to your council member. You can call them. You can email them. All of our council members are accessible. They return calls. If they aren't able to do it right then they'll say, hey, RJ, can you return this call? I get text messages and phone calls and screenshots. Hey, this constituent called me for this. Can you take care of this? I got this email. Can you handle this? And so our citizens, our council members are very communicative. They're very touchable. They're regular people. And so they have a responsibility first to their constituents, the folks that elected them. And so they are responsive to them. If there is something that you may need from a council member, you can always email us at whichever district, so District A at shreveportla.gov. That email goes to the council member and myself. For District B, it all goes to myself and the council member. And so if you send it to that district email, that way both of us get it, both the council member and myself, and we can handle any concerns in a prompt time. Our council members get hundreds of emails and calls a week, and so sometimes they may get lost in the shuffle. But if you give us the opportunity to respond to that and send that through those other email channels, they have multiple emails, so they have to get through those timely. So call us, email us, anytime. We're happy to assist.
So how do you guys decipher if RJ responds or the council person
responds? We talk daily. I talk to our council members, some of them multiple times a day. We're just making sure, that there's always a response. There are things that happen in the city on the slow. They're really slow sometimes. We understand that. But sometimes citizens need a quick communication. And so I talk to our council members multiple times a day. And so they'll tell me, what they need, what type of support they need. And so we'll respond accordingly based on that. We also pay attention to our neighborhood pages on Facebook. If you're in a neighborhood group, we encourage our neighborhoods to go online, make sure your neighborhood association information is updated so that we can communicate with you too, send out newsletters and things like that. So we do newsletters for the council. If things are happening in your district that you want on the council person's calendar for them to attend, there's also something that they can send us as well.
Awesome. So the council now, there's two meetings that happen. There's an administrative session, and then there's the council meeting itself, right. Mondays and Tuesdays.
That's right.
What's the difference in those two meetings? Why those two meetings?
Sure. So the administrative conference is held on Monday. That's an opportunity for the administration to go over information they may have as it relates to ordinance or resolutions that may be on the agenda for council members to give further information. This is a time to talk, kind of debate, work out any kinks that may be in the legislation so that we can get that on the agenda, get it revised for the next day, any amendments that may need to come up. And so then we have our council meetings. On Mondays, our citizens can come in, they can comment on whatever they like to, whether that's on the agenda or not. On a Monday. And so then on Tuesday, we only hear comments for agenda items. And so if you want to speak, best time to come is on Monday if it's not on the agenda. That way you can tell council members, the mayor, and those in attendance what you may need that may not be on the agenda. But that meeting is for just basically getting information out, having administration conference with the administration. And Tuesday is actually the meeting day. Tuesday is where we vote on the legislation and make final passages on the legislation that comes before the council.
Now, why 3 o'clock? A lot of people get off at 5
sure.
some of the time, so why 3 o'clock?
Our governing documents mandate what time the city council meeting is. And so by council rule and by council charter, or city charter, we have to have meetings at a certain time. And so that's why the meetings are at the times that they are. But we hope citizens take advantage of the opportunities they have to listen online. They have YouTube, they have Facebook. We're live stream on those. We also live stream on Channel 6. So there's an opportunity to do that. For citizens who may not be able to come at 3 o'clock, there's also opportunity for you to submit your comments on the website. So we get those. Those go to all the council members and staff. So even if you aren't able to make it, you still have an opportunity to have your voice heard. And so we want to make sure people understand that your voice can be heard at any time. Send us an email, make a phone call. We take notes of that, send council members the information on citizens that call every day. And so we take advantage of all the opportunities we have to communicate.
You mentioned the council handles the budget. Does each district have an allotted amount of funds to handle things within their district? More specifically, like if all the districts, if the streets are bad,
Sure.
if there's one set of budget, how is that money given, and who gets the money first to fix whose streets and whose district? How does that go?
Well, it's actually interesting. Our city charter prevents individual districts from getting their own budgets. We're looking at the whole city as a whole. Even though we're divided into districts, our city charter doesn't allow certain funds to be allotted simply for a district. We have to look at opportunities across the whole city to make sure things happen. And this is why it's very important for our council members as well as administration to communicate with each other to know what's going on. And so we get street requests every day. And so we send those to the council member. Council members evaluate those. But there's also a process for determining which streets get fixed in a certain time. We're looking at, there's a machine that actually, or a truck that actually goes, has radars and different things that are attached to it that determines the rating of the street to determine whether or not their street is ready for renovation or reconstruction. And so that plays a huge part in it as well. Everyone wants their streets to be new, nice and new, and we try our best to make sure they get done. But sometimes it's right. That's right. We get a lot of calls in relation to potholes and things like that, and so we want our citizens to realize we're doing the best we can with what we have. We have plenty of opportunities. The council just actually allotted about $9 million more to streets to get our streets fixed. And so we're looking at different opportunities to bring in additional funding to help us with that, because we know that's a serious infrastructure problem here in the city of Shreveport. So I get hit by potholes sometimes too, but we are definitely making every effort to get our streets fixed.
So they're allotting this money, so they are actually, the council, because this information that you're giving is really helpful, because, the citizens can have their own way of thinking, thinking it's just on the council, but they're doing their part, trying to make everything work. So
That's right.
Just allotted another $9 million.
Right, but $9 million, $9.5 million. We had a $32 million budget as it relates to street repairs that were needed in the last year. And so the administration and council got together. We've just recently had street light meetings because we allotted another $500,000 to street lights. And so each of our council members has participated in street light meetings with the chief of police, with the mayor, with our streets and drainage department, our engineering department, to determine the best place for street lights in our city, because we hear that from people every day. We hear we want more street lights. We hear we need our streets fixed. And so our council, our mayor, administration, they're really looking at those things. I went 7 different meetings in regards to street lights. And so our council members have come together to do that. All of them have been in those meetings because they want those recommendations, because they are the ones that actually hear from the citizens that say, I want lights on my street, or I need to get my street fixed. And so they've been in those meetings. They've been at the forefront of trying to make those things happen. And so it's a lot that happens behind the scenes that people don't see. You see the council meetings, you see what goes on in those council meetings, maybe an hour, hour and a half. But every day that we're working on these things to better our city, it is much more hours than the hour or so they spend in council meetings. So
now there is a difference when we talk about streets. There's a difference in city and state streets.
That's right.
So how much does the council, or which one does the council? What's the difference?
So we have state highways. Hearn is a state highway. Forest Street is a state highway, but our council members, particularly Councilman Taylor, whose those areas are districts, or in those districts, has been working with our state delegation. Our council members are working with our state delegation to make sure that we have the funds allotted to that. We just got out of a legislative session, and so we were able to get some funds for quite a bit of things here in the Shreveport area. Obviously downtown, we'll have a new state office building. That's a $75 million investment. That was spearheaded by Representative Glover and others in the state legislature. And so we have a lot going on in our state and city, and those partnerships are very important. And so our council members speak to our legislative delegation on the state level and the federal level. The council just passed yesterday a resolution to send to the federal government to get a presidential declaration declared for the disaster so that we can get federal assistance here. So there are a lot of things that go on that people just may not see. And so it's incumbent upon us to make sure they know. And part of my responsibility and job is to be proactive in our communications and let folks know what our council is doing. That they just don't see on TV and the sound bites they may hear from media. There's a lot that goes on every day that people may not see.
And this is the platform here, man. This is good information to help people. So how can a citizen differentiate between a city street and a state street?
They're normally marked and numbered highways. So you will see the highways is marked. City streets, state streets, or state highways are marked. Uri Drive is Louisiana Highway 1, the longest highway in the state. It's a state road. And so when you look at those things, you look at those signs, you can tell the difference.
So the council doesn't have any say on Uri Drive if it needs to be fixed.
It's a state highway. So anything that we do, even if we take it, take the role on it or lead role, we have to get permission from the state. We have to get permission from the state to do anything. And sometimes the state will contract us to take care of certain things, and they'll pay us to do that. But most of it, if they're a state or federal highway, they're responsibility of those entities.
Wow. Amazing information, man. We thank you so much for coming to share this information.
Absolutely.
And, man, just keep doing it. So how can somebody reach you? If they've got questions for you to get maybe to the council members. How can they reach you?
They can give us a call, or you can email us rj.johnson@ShreveportLA. Any of our districts are all District A at ShreveportLA.gov, District B, District C, District E, F, and G.
Yeah.
So any of those, you can put that in front of that. That'll email myself and the council members. We're happy to help anybody that we can. We know our citizens want to see the best for our city. Our council members want to see the best for the city. And they represent different districts. When they come together, everything that they do is on behalf of the city. So I'm excited about this opportunity and being in this role for the first time. We're creating opportunities and we're creating a council that's effective and works directly with our people, and our people know what's going on. So we encourage you to make sure, again, your neighborhood associations are updated, that you email us when you have events going on so we can put them in our district newsletters. We're celebrating new businesses every quarter that open up in our districts because Shreveport is open for business. And so we're looking for various opportunities to collaborate with businesses and citizens on behalf of the council.
This is absolutely amazing. So if you're watching us right now, I need you to take a moment, share this podcast with another citizen, because this was some vital information, some information that you may have needed. You have questions about the council, what goes on, what do they represent, how can they handle it? All of this information RJ just gave us needs to be spread around the city. So if you're watching this, I need you, every person that's watching this, to take this link, share it with somebody so that they can be abreast of this information that was just given by Mr. RJ. So again, thank you for tuning in to this episode of the Love Shreveport podcast. Don't forget, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is City of Shreveport, LA. Don't forget to stay social with us on social media. On Facebook, City of Shreveport Government. It has the blue check and it is verified. On Instagram, @Love Shreveport, has the blue check. It's verified. And then on Twitter, @Love Shreveport 1. So again, thank you so much. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you for watching.